Welcome to the Operatic Pastcast, a presentation and preservation of operatic memories and impressions produced by Donald Cullip. On August 8, 1964, Virginia Zeani made her role debut in Madama Butterfly at the Teatro la Fenice in Venice. Throughout this episode, the listener will hear excerpts from an in-house recording of the performance, the recordist of which is restless at times. First, Madame Zeani talks about not having an agent or manager in her career, which paralleled that of Maria Callas, who is heard in an excerpt from a 1951 Florence performance of I Vespri Siciliani. Then she speaks of meeting her teacher, Aureliano Pertile, for the first time, hearing singers of the late 1940s, her retirement to Palm Beach, Florida, the power of publicity, and the act of revisiting the past. Part 1 of 2.
A lot of people in my life ask me why I had not an agent, really. But in my time, the agents, they were very few. And it was one or two in Milano, and they had a lot of trouble to work for all of them because the lyrica, it was not transmitted with the television. It didn't exist television. Television came out around 50, 52, 55, and sometimes they have this television, that machine who kept the performance, but was not always the best because one machine was near the suggeritore, the prompter, another machine was probably on the floor somewhere hidden because they had not the right to tape. So I had my debut just in that time, in 47, like I always told the people, in 47 and 16 of May. After this, I've done a tour of Traviata around the small town that it was around Bologna and all these things. And I had not possibility to have a good agent because didn't exist one who represent yourself. They represent 100 people that were on the world and they send you in America if they could, or they send you to sing in some theater. But I had not this chance because it was too much. Liduino had Tebaldi. Tebaldi was guided by Liduino, who made with her a contract that he paid her, let's say, $500 or at the time, probably not even so much, a month, and they sold her for $500 a performance. So he paid monthly. This, I think, she had a contract with this one for 3 years. I had not this possibility because he was full with 2 or 3 important in the time, Margherita Carosio. So I enter in the round of this person. Sometimes they called me, sometimes they didn't call me. So they called me at home because they knew that I have done a good Traviata, So I had no one who took care really of my career. In the meantime, Tebaldi had this Liduino, Callas had her husband who was fantastic to introduce himself because he was one of the sustained arena in Verona. So when Nicola took Callas from New York to accompany her in Verona because he had to sing in this Gioconda, so he met Callas in New York. They traveled together, I think, with Miss, the agent that in that time Callas had, Bagarozzi, I think that Miss Bagarozzi was with them. They traveled, and Nicola's family was in Verona because the father was a colonel in the army. So they stopped at home, and Meneghini, her future husband, met her with Nicola, introduced her to the Verona because he was from Verona. He had a contract for Gioconda, and he took her from New York because Zenatello, it's a complication that you have to go in the story back. Zenatello, who is the first who opened arena after the war, was in New York, and Nicola recommends Callas. Callas had an agent who was this Bagarozzi and traveled with Nicola in the same boat from New York till Naples. From Naples, they took, I don't know, train or something, and they arrived in Verona. There, Callas knew Meneghini. So in 47, arrived all these things. I arrived from Romania, but I was a unknown girl. Nobody knew me. Only the pianist, who was the pianist of Stella Roman. In the time, Stella Roman was a great singer on the time of the war, Romanian singer, just from Transylvania, like me. And so, you know, I have to say, I don't know how that they needed this Traviata, and they recommend me because the pianist heard me in Traviata, and they say, Virginia, you're ready. And I was, in 48, I had my debut in Traviata. And I was extremely happy. But in 47, when Maria Callas arrived, they opened Arena in Verona with Gioconda. So we had a little bit in the same period of time, you know, and Callas was only 2 years older than me. But she was a phenomenon to sing in Arena in Verona at this time. She encountered her husband, who lanced her immediately with all the theater, especially with La Scala, because he was a good friend in that time of Ghiringhelli, who was the superintendent of La Scala. It's an intrigue, very curious, but helped Callas to be Callas, what she was after. She demonstrated to be a great woman with a great vocality, with a great desire to be important. Her desire to be important was more even that her statue, who was big, elegant, what elegant was after when she lost weight. But she was a big woman with a big desire to be great. Well, I was in the meantime a pecora, we say in Italian, a lamb, you know. I was intimidated by this life, but not intimidated by singing, not intimidated by this. So it was very nice. My debut, it's very nice, fantastic, her debut, that all the people, newspaper wrote about this. And we start a life in obscurity a little bit, because I sang a lot of Traviata, other things. I didn't even count these things because I was very unhappy. Always then ask me to do Traviata today and Traviata tomorrow. You know, I was only the one always free to go because I had no money. I had only $500 to maintain myself 1 year. So I was very happy to have immediately this work and to can cope with piatto di spaghetti and some sandwiches in the beginning. So people called me, knowing my personality in Traviata, they called me home. And always they say, oh, Virginia, we, agents here and there, then in theater, they do some operas. Virginia, you can help us. We have to do this opera. So I accepted with joy because my character was to make happy people. Well, I wanted to be happy myself, but I had a very difficult period of my life, private life, and I hide in a way. I had because I was not happy at all, but I was extremely happy with my career. But nobody fight for me. Nobody fight. Only the public. The public, when they heard one time, they desire in another time to hear me again. So I was so happy to have work. I was not interested if this work was a great quality or not, because I sang in all the Italian province, probably 100 town or more, till I arrived to sing in the great theaters. It was the first great encounter with me with the responsibility was in Cairo with King Farouk in 1950. Then I was there in 50, I was in 51, and with me was Beniamino Gili. I had my debut in Elisir d'Amore. In 51, I had my debut in Pagliacci, even there, and Pescatori di Perle, Pearl Fisher, in Italian, certainly, because the company was Italian. We were obliged to sing in Italian, even the French opera. Now, probably you like to know why I didn't sing Butterfly before, much before. I was 37 when I sang my first Butterfly, and I was 22 and a half when I sang Traviata. So I wait like 15 years or so because these two operas are extremely difficult, but extremely different like construction. Traviata, you have to have a big agility, you have to have a big courage at 22 to sing this. And I had this agility, and I worked very hard with my great teacher in Romania, Lidia Lipskovska. Then I had the advisors of Aureliano Pertile that I had the chance to know between friends of him, Colonnello Giovannini and his wife. They were friends intimate of Pertile. So they sent me to him to have advisors. And probably, I don't know if I told you one time that when I arrived to the door of Pertile, I was so impressed, so I adored him like singer, that when this old man, a little bit gobbo, it was a little bit, not gobbo means henchback, but very little, he opened to me, I start to cry like a child, 7 years old. And his wife, Italia, came back of him saying, but he's a good man. Why you have to cry? He was not nice to you. So I says, no, the emotion is from long time, because to know him was for me incredible to know him. Every person that I met in that period of time was a surprise, I saw the last concert that Toscanini had in 47 in La Scala. Then he came back to America. He was there in 47. I saw him conducting. I saw debut of Di Stefano and Mafalda Favero in Manon Massenet in La Scala. I saw Schipa singing Elisir d'Amore. I saw so many other things that I saw Boris Godunov, and in Boris Godunov it was Pasero, the basso Pasero, but it was the debut of Nicola in, come si chiama, the smallest roles. It was Nicola. Nicola was the comic one, who danced all the time, so it was a great artist. I saw their debut in this Boris, not in the real role, who was Pasero, but in the rollers, minor roles, but very important. Yes. And Pimen and the other role, Varlam Nicola was, yes. So we say in Italian, I go from the palla in frasca, it's an expression in Italian, I go from one to the other one that is so distant, Traviata and Butterfly. And you asked me even before to speak about Butterfly. I expected a lot of time to sing Butterfly because I saw very good singers in that period of time that when they were 23, 24, 25, they lost their voices. Butterfly, it's a big role, and you have always to sing like Puccini went, with a lot of suffering, with a lot of colors, with a lot kneeling, and it was such a massive, how can I say, role that I expected to be more mature and more. Traviata was natural. I was born at not Traviata like characters to go here and there with men, no, but like fragility. I was a little bit sick myself. I had always a problem with my left lung, and from the time that I was attacked by Russian, but and I like to do well this agility, this fragility, these things, and I was not able in the time to sing Butterfly. When I was 37, I think that in the meantime, I sang 30 roles, different roles, from Elisir, from Lucia, from Rigoletto, from Manon Massenet, from Faust, etc. I sang a lot, even Pagliacci, but it was short, not difficult. So when I was 37, I decided it's the moment, and they offered me to have my debut in Venezia. Well, I don't know, because I have not the courage to hear many of my records, and you know why? Because certainly with my maturity, I would like to hear myself probably more complete, more helped. But fortunately, I was helped by fantastic pianists, etc., but I had not an agent. I was mature. I had my parents with me because, you know, I had to buy my parents from Romania and to have them with me in the time of Ceausescu. And it was a very, very, very difficult moment to be alone, to have not my parents. And when I had them, oh, I was in heaven. I was the only child, and they never could hear me in the theater. So they heard me after 16 years. So you said, you understand, from 22 till 37, I had not them with me. But anyway, Butterfly was a role that I gave all my heart because it's such a painful. Not only I gave my voice, I gave the colors. I tried to do the best that I could after my great experience in some other. But in the end, I was not a dramatic person in the time. I was still singing Alzira, Zelmira, this kind of Otello by Rossini. And after all these things, I have done Butterfly. Like I told you, Butterfly, it's such a, I don't recommend to the young people to sing because you are tempted to do more than you can. And these make you, War Traviata, you start with the first act that is light, that is agility, coloratura, the voice hang up, and then little by little you are dramatic, and the dramatic is not with forte, dramatic is with the pianos, even the last act. You have Addio del Passato, you have a duetto between piano and forte all the time. So in Butterfly, you have to have the voice always there, never to miss one note. I didn't think that I sang so many Butterfly, probably 40, 50, not more than this. I have to count one time, but you know, I had not this pleasure to speak about me so much, because if you can understand it till you effectively, I had not an agent in my life. First of all, I had the enemies, the great men that in the time, because they were old men for me and I refused their proposal. Secondary, that I married Nicola and I respect my life with Nicola. And then it was the chance to come with Nicola when he was 60 and I was 55, 56, to Indiana University, where I was extremely well received, both of us, you know. Indiana University, it's a school that I don't think that exists a better school of music in all America, because they have great teachers even before me, and in everything, not only in voice and instruments, they are the best professors that I could know in my life. And I had incredible Dean Webb, who is still now a great pianist to go around the world playing. I had friends there that they were so kind to me, even after Nicola's death, 10 years after. So he died in 92. Come a great colleague of him, Basso, that I met in Cairo one time, long time before. Him and his wife, they become great friends of mine. Oh, yeah. When I will remember, this is my problem today. The most important things that I like to remember were names with Tozzi. Tozzi, he came to replace Nicola when he died. So you see the colleagues that I had there, they were great qualities. Gianna D'Angelo, some others in the time, Havranek, great teacher, great teacher. And some others certainly that I don't like now to put of them, because I think that we were near 18 or 20 in this, only in voice. I don't speak how much in cello, in violin, this fantastic talent that we have today, the same Joshua Bell. Gingold was a great friend, my great friend and great friend of Nicola, because he was Jewish from Russia. They spoke Russian all day. So it was so nice ambience. I have to tell you, I cannot even say how many great names they were there because I have to have the program to remember because they were all great friends of mine now, but I'm so far from them, I forget. For a moment, I forget the names because I remember the persons. They were so darling, you know. Well, one day when I was 78, I decided that probably it's better to retire and to have a little bit of peace. Thinking, oh, Nicola died at 70. Certainly, if probably I will die at 80, I will have 2 years of retirement. So I left the school in 78 and I came in West Palm Beach, where I had a student of mine who was professor here, Marilyn Mims. And so she encouraged me to come in this place, beautiful place, full of the danger too, and we have hurricanes, but otherwise it's a climate that is fantastic. So I came here at 78. I left the school, and they took my pension, and they came here. So you see, here, then I continue to have some private students who came to ask me advices, or the ones that they were studying with me came again. And so I had a complex life. And fortunately, now that I am 88 and 7 months, in October I will be 89, I had the privilege to have this interview with you. That it's very important too, because I've never done great interviews on the television, you know. I had on the radio many, but you see, I miss the part of publicity. But I'm not upset. Publicity sometimes can do damage to the singers. Publicity excessive killed Callas. She was everything observed, where she goes, what she does, etc., etc. And in moment of crisis, nobody was there to help her. To help her. I remember that my husband called her because they remain friends, but not speaking more many things. So he heard that she's very sick. So he called her and said, Maria, we have to remember that we were great friends. We have done records together. I like to be near you, to know how you feel. And she says, Nicola, I have no interest in life. My life is finished. So she predicted her final, because after a few months, in September, I remember the day, because on the same day I left to do a record in Romania of Tosca. So when I arrived in Romania, I called my husband to speak to him, and my housekeeper told me, no, he went to the television because Maria Callas died today at 1 o'clock. he was at 6 o'clock to speak about her. So he took her in Italy, and he spoke about her when she died, the first who spoke about her. But all these things, they are not put in evidence. In her life, they put only some scandal on some fantastic things that she has done. She has done incredible things. A woman that lost, she was really big. I saw her in Vespri Siciliani in La Scala, big like she was before and moving with certain difficulties. And I saw after in Traviata. She was another woman. Absolutely another character, another woman. She was fantastic. She was moving like a libellula. You know this libellula, this specie di butterfly. Butterfly, yes. Yes. She moved, the movement of her hands, of her body, that was fantastic. And sent away her shoes. Ta 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 ta, send away one shoe. The shoe in her feet. Ta 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 ta, the second shoe. The shoes, you know? So she was liberated, like I say. I don't know, Visconti di Modrone, there was the stage director. I was there. You know, when you, in the air, you threw her shoes away, a shoe. Yeah, she threw. Ta ta ta, ta 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 ta. Probably she changed in many performances this attitude, but she has done her hair. She was working all the time something, because Visconti di Modrone wanted to show how great actress she was. She was very active artist. So she was doing what she felt to do, and after that she lost this weight and she was so elegant. She was a butterfly herself, a butterfly. Romanian who stays in my house, and we speak Romanian. I answer to my son when my son is here. I speak Italian, certainly. Then sometimes I have friends who call me from France, and I speak French. And which is the fourth one? You don't expect that I speak a good English, because I learned it with my students when I came to America. I didn't speak English. Probably for this I was not tempted to come to America even before. So I learned with my students. They imitated me sometimes. I have done some gaffe, some, wrong terminology in English many times, confusing. But it was nice. It was the period that I felt so young near my students, that even if I was 50 something, so near 60, but I was treated like one of them with respect. Oh yes, with my husband. And I tell you why. He was a great actor. When he was in Japan with many important artists, I was not invited, because normally when they have Japan, I was always in the summers that I was busy with arenas, always in arena, in Caracalla, in arena in Verona, or in arena in Sardinia, or in arena in Sicily. So he went there, I think, when I was 35 or 36, and came back with the costume of Butterfly, done there by the television. He had something on the television. And he says, the television, I don't like to be paid, but do the costume for my wife of Butterfly, knowing that year after I had to sing Butterfly. So the costume came from my husband. And my husband, who was a great actor, I tell you, showed me some movement that he saw in the geisha here and there, etc. So this movement of hands, a little bit, that you have to move with a certain grace and to be feminine, extreme feminine, but humble. I speak with such joy, emotion in the same time, because you took me back in my life. And I don't like to go often back in my life, because something is very sad and something is so beautiful. So I have extreme things, For this I like to live my life in peace, and to die, one will be the moment in peace. In peace, without asking all the time, things that sometimes I do, what I will do after. Certainly, I would not like to lose the experience that I have in this life.